I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything except my faith. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. Fall forward. This is what I mean.
I know you're tired. I know you're hurting. And I wish I could say something that was classy and inspirational.
You can do it!
But that just wouldn't be our style.
Welcome to Project Reclamation, where you rebuild, re-energize, and reclaim your life. So check this out.
Clap on both of our parts.
That's all right. That's all right. It's okay. So we're doing this kind of low carb thing, or at least you have, and I've sort of been trying to follow along. Check it out.
Yes.
The best thing ever
Is what?
Sugar-free chocolate pudding, and instead of milk, you make it with heavy whipping cream.
Ooh.
Oh my God. And then you put like barely sweetened dark chocolate, 74% cacao chunks in it.
Cacao.
Oh, like
That actually sounds really good.
it's flipping amazing because there's just enough of whatever fake sugar sweetener that there is in the pudding, and then my God, it's like ice cream / whipped cream /
Did you try putting it in the freezer too?
I have not yet because I want it. There's actually a ice cream recipe that I think you have to like cream cheese and stuff like that.
Dude, that's what I was going to say. The one ingredient that would have made that better is cream cheese. I made cream cheese strawberry cheesecake ice cream, and it was...
Yeah.
Here's the thing with ice cream, though. When you stick something in the freezer that you're going to make into ice cream, unless it's maybe... No, I think even real ice cream has to be stirred. You got to stir it like every 15 minutes, otherwise it turns into like a block of ice.
And here's the thing, too. I saw there's a little thing... if you add like vodka, just like a tiny bit of vodka to the mix, it keeps the strawberries from, because there's so much water and moisture in the strawberries, it keeps the strawberries from turning into ice.
Interesting.
So it distributes, and the alcohol makes it brings the freezing temperature of the water down.
Now, I wonder if you use tequila, if it would do the same thing.
Ooh, I'm sure anything that has a high proof.
Yeah. Did it say you have to use 100 proof vodka or?
No, it just said vodka. So I mean, I'm sure anything 80 proof
80
or
proof or
higher.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, it just keeps the water crystals from freezing.
Just throw some Mad Dog 2020 in there.
Dude, that's wine, and I think that would only be like 35% alcohol. But
No, I know. That's the point. Some fucking night train. Nah.
bleh.
So yeah, dude. What were we talking about?
You were talking about Rampage.
Oh, yeah. Rampage. That was an awesome movie. I mean, it was campy, but it was like, I mean, it's based on a shitty campy video game from, I don't know, the 80s, 90s, somewhere around there.
I think it would be the 80s.
It was probably the 80s. Yeah. So yeah, it was where you I think the default character was the gorilla, but you were either the gorilla or and the gorilla was like a King Kong kind of looking thing, or you were like some lizard thing, which is like kind of Godzilla-ish, but
Like Mothra. So it's basically, yeah.
Her name was Lizzie. Basically, dude, you were either the werewolf, the gorilla, or the lizard. But they were all anthropomorphic, and they walked on two legs, and basically you picked
Big word
city.
usage, dude.
Anthropomorphic.
Anthropomorphic. That's five finger syllables right there.
Let's hope that I use it correctly. But anyways, so then you pick a city. So there was all these like Santa Fe, Los Angeles, whatever. And like every city was like a single screen with like a few buildings, and you had to like climb up the buildings, punch holes in the walls of the buildings, and eat the food and kill the people and take down the helicopters and take down the tanks that were trying to kill you. And then you just basically went on a rampage. Haha.
Wow. What question was I just going to ask?
You were going to ask how the hell they turned that into a 2-hour movie?
No.
Oh, okay.
What gaming system was this on? Was this like
I think it
Nintendo
was- I
Entertainment
know I-
System?
No, I think it was strictly arcade games.
Oh,
I'm sure they came out with it eventually on a Nintendo or something, but I remember playing it in like the actual arcade.
Oh, okay.
I'm fairly
That
certain.
makes sense.
I'm sure it came
like at Rusty's Pizza or something
exactly
like that. Yeah,
like that, and like Golden Axe and Pole Position. Well, I remember I had Pole Position in my garage. That was cool.
you did in that like half garage thing.
Well, by the time I met you, it was a half garage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
That garage started as a normal garage, and then it turned into a half garage, and then it turned into nothing.
Yeah.
Then
Now
it
it's
turned
just
into
a
a
wall, right?
full-blown family room. Yeah.
The half garage.
It's called a half garage
A
or a giraffe.
a giraffe.
The giraffe.
Not to be confused with the long-legged, long-necked
Yeah.
quadruped with spots anthropomorphized into
Ooh, way to bring that one back.
yeah, that made no sense. The half garage that had the Sub-Z freezer refrigerator in it,
Yes.
that was the worst. I have very fond memories of those times, but moving that refrigerator, it was like a Sub-Z that was supposed to be in a wall, but it wasn't.
Right.
Yeah. Did your dad get that from like a job or something like that, or?
Oh yeah, just like everything. That pole position came from a job too.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, talk to Monty. Like, he has all kinds of stuff at his house that he got on jobs.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, you get.
It's one of the beauties of being a contractor, you know? Especially
Yeah, they're
if you
just
work
like,
at...
take it away. You know,
especially with the more
people with
commercial
means,
stuff.
they're like, yeah, it's not worth them to keep it. They get a new
No,
one. So
like,
it's
I
like,
need to have a contractor come here so that I can have someone take away this plasma TV for free. But whatever. So yeah, we were having some audio issues, and all I had to do was turn it off and then turn it on again. I feel like that's why when you like call customer service, like you have to preface your call with, "I've already tried turning it off and turning it on again." So
yeah.
let's move to the next step. So what's
Yeah,
on
I
your
know.
mind, man?
Not a
How's,
whole lot, homie G.
How's week 3 of
Dude, it's week 4, bro.
the slaughterhouse?
It's week 4. It's awesome. I was like, holy crap, my new Spawn is almost a month old.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. It's cool. It's all good. It's everything I hoped it would be and more. And I'm not working right now, so I get to spend every minute that I want to with said
That you
little
want to?
awesome beast.
Nice.
No, she's awesome. It's great. I love it.
Sweet, man. So what else is
Yeah,
up?
man. I don't know. Let's see. We talked about recipes for low carb. We talked about Rampage. We talked about.
I watched The Meg last night. I'm pretty sure that's still in theaters. And
I don't know. I don't even know if it's in theaters yet.
I don't know. No, it is, because Kristen was talking about seeing it when I was over.
Oh,
with her
right
and
on.
she
Okay.
said- Yeah. But it's definitely not out of theaters yet.
Gotcha.
It was a pretty good movie. It wasn't quite as good. If you're looking for like something with like, I don't know, I feel like Deep Blue Sea was like the perfect amount of like comedy, ridiculousness,
Campy.
but also kind of campy, but then also like pretty good special effects. It was good though. It's definitely worth watching.
That's cool. Yeah, I saw the preview for it and it looked interesting. I feel like Deep Blue Sea, it was tethered by lack of technology, and that was like, what, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
So now it's like 15 years later, it kind of all has caught up.
Yeah.
So you're not, at least not held back by the lack of technology.
No. And I mean, I'd say the special effects for the most part are as good as they need to be.
Well,
I mean,
and
it was
feel
definitely not a small budget film.
True. Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. That's where, like, you draw the line. It's like, okay, so some of these movies, like The Human Centipede or, you know, stuff like that, where it's like, obviously the special effects are not the greatest.
Yeah.
So it detracts from the story and kind of turns it into a B movie.
True. This one
This is like
definitely
this is supposed to be like a huge blockbuster.
Right.
Yeah.
But dude, even the Sharknado movies have good special effects. Like those are.
Do they
but
though?
They kind of do. Yeah. I mean,
Like better than like Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. I feel like those are the worst special effects ever.
In the Crystal Skull.
Yeah. Oh
Dude,
yeah. Like
I saw it once, and the movie was just such a miscarriage of a beautiful thing.
A huge turd.
So just to backtrack a little bit here, you just compared in one rant, you compared Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull to Sharknado, and you compared The Meg and Deep Blue Sea to Human Centipede. I'm just keeping track.
No. I'm not comparing any of those. We're talking
I'm just
we're
kidding,
talking
dude.
about how special effects
Yes.
affect the outcome of a certain storytelling. And all of those examples have examples of special effects.
I just love the cornucopia of random shit that your brain pulled out with these movie examples.
These are all movies that I have. Well, I mean, some of them I haven't seen. I've seen snippets, and I've heard stories that the special effects detract from the story.
Have you sat through the whole? First of all, dude, Human Centipede, you couldn't detract anymore from that story.
No.
Because the story
that was more of a bubblegum throw in. I've never seen that. I've heard.
And it was kind of I think it was a shock factor thing.
The best special effects were the movie poster, like whoever photoshopped.
I mean, I think
poster.
the best. I mean, and I don't think they had a budget, and I don't think they thought they were. Everything rested on the focal point of just this fucking ridiculous plot point about a guy who wants to sew three people together ass to mouth and make a human centipede. And then the second one was, but there's an amount of ridiculousness to it. So like, I don't know why some people were like, I just kind of know. It was, you know me, dude, I love horror movies, but it was just, I don't know. It was lame. And then the second one was just way stupider. It was about a guy that's obsessed with the first one. And then he wants to make like 100-person Senate, but he's also like mentally retarded. So he fails miserably. I think they all just die. And then the third one, I made it through about 5 minutes of it, and then I turned it off.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And not because I was so disgusted. It was just so stupid. There's
all these Netflix movies out right now, like Netflix exclusives, and man, there was one that I dug. It was like, This Is How It Ends. It was at least palatable. Like the story was decent. It was kind of apocalyptic, and there wasn't, the guy was on the East Coast. His wife was in Seattle, so the story was him getting across the country with her dad.
Okay.
To find her. So that was good. But there's like all these. My story being is that a lot of these movies, it's just like so bad, dude. Like, how did this get greenlit?
I don't know, but I will. Dude, I mean, I don't know that I've watched. Oh, you know what Netflix original I did watch that I really liked? It was called Little Evil, I think it was called. It's got the.
I've never heard of that.
So the guy, he was in Parks and Rec. He played like him and what's her name ended up getting together.
Oh, like
and he was in Piranha. He's been in a bunch of stuff. Like, he's funny, kind of nerdy a little bit. You know who I'm talking about, right? Like, I think
wait. Give me the character again. Who are you talking about?
He got together with the main character. What's her name?
Leslie Knope.
Yeah, Leslie Knope. Yeah. So
You're talking about the dude from the Catalina wine mixer, the Catalina fucking wine mixer.
Absolutely. So that guy's in it, and he ends up getting married to this woman, and she has a son who's like 10, and he starts to like. There's all these signs that like the kid might be like the freaking Antichrist, and so it's kind of a campy, kitschy, like horror movie, but also kind of a comedy, and it's hilarious and it's amazing. But like I think they hit it like that. It's just campy enough and like just kind of stupid enough. But I think that's exactly what they were going for.
So, yeah.
But dude, Netflix kills it on some of their shows. I mean, they have all the Marvel shows.
I'm not saying that Netflix is bad. I'm just saying that some of have you seen What Happened to Monday?
Dude, I don't know. No.
It's a movie, and it's like the same character. It's the chick that was in the Alien, Alien movies, the predecessor, the prequel to that. Yep, exactly. It's P something. I want to say Poseidon, but it's not.
No, it was, dude. It was one of the wasn't it one of the brothers that started? No, what was it?
Yeah.
No, it was the guy who got fire. He was one who stole fire from the gods.
Yes.
Prometheus. There we go.
Prometheus. Yeah, it was the chick in that. Well, the main chick, I think.
Isn't that Charlize Theron?
No, not the main chick, but like the dark-haired, short-haired chick. And she plays like 7 different people. Like, what is septuplets? Is that what that'd be?
No.
Yeah,
I think that's right. I think that sounds right. Sure, why not?
Yeah. So yeah, in a world where, like, I don't know, go check it out. It's kind of cool. It's kind of weird. I mean, it was done pretty well. I just feel like these movies are just, it's almost like bro country right now. They're just like, get a decent story, put it in this like formula and pump it out, because like the special effects are just just enough to like kind of make it sort of believable.
But at the same time, man, if you have, I don't know, me personally, like I dig like actor chemistry. So I mean, like, if there's like the best special effects ever and like the story sucks or the chemistry sucks, then I'm just watching a Michael Bay. I mean, I'm watching Transform. I mean, I don't like that movie as much.
I get it. No, and I'm an actor chemistry guy too.
Yeah.
I'm just saying when and maybe it's just my eye. Maybe I'm just like completely weird dude, but like when that sort of thing like detracts from the story.
Yeah, no, I totally understand.
And maybe I'm too much of a nerdy connoisseur of believability in special effects and stuff like that. That it makes me like,
Well, I get it, dude, because it kind of like if you're into it, but then the special effects like, just like they kind of pulls you out of that. I mean, let's be honest. Like you watch a movie, especially if we're talking any movie with a lot of special effects, probably has some sort of detachment from reality, or at least from our daily reality, like explosions and drug deals and all this stuff. But or more like dragons and magic. But if you're trying to get lost in something, which is, I believe, the point of a movie for the most part, yeah, I can see how it can kind of take you back. But I will say that, especially today, I mean, beyond budget, but what is, I don't know, is there so much of a budget anymore now that you don't even need to make a real explosion? You can have some kid on After Effects just design one and put it in there?
That's what I'm saying, is that I can see the difference.
Yeah. Well,
and it well, I mean, I can. I don't know if everybody can, but like, I'm thinking like the difference between Indiana Jones, the first Indiana Jones movie, and Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. I get it. You can't detonate a thermonuclear weapon in real life. You've got to do it in a special effects realm. But at the same time, they really had that huge ball rolling down and like, chasing him kind of thing. Like, I feel like nowadays they would have made that,
there is something to it, dude.
There's something to be said on a big budget blockbuster.
Absolutely.
Done with limited technology. I feel like that's where the creativity was like, paramount and distilled and made into, the early Lucas films, mainly is what I'm talking about.
I would point to the original Jurassic Park, dude. I don't
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly. So some of that, obviously some of that was special effects, but a lot of that was done with props and animatronics and
it was like 1990, 8?
Yeah, well, I mean, with that brontosaurus when they initially go see, and Dr. Grant's like, "Oh my God, welcome to Jurassic Park," and then like the brontosaurus goes up and grabs the eucalyptus tree, like that was special effects,
right?
But the T-Rex scene when he's like cruising around, like half of that was special effects, but the other half was a huge giant animatronic nose of something.
But it looked phenomenal.
Yeah, it was edited, and that's what I'm saying. Is that there's a line where it's like you have to spend some money on some kitschy shit to make it really awesome,
or write a better story that you don't need all the kitschy shit for.
No, I think there's a point at which you need to have some of that, like, chicken wire and paper mache ET kind of ingenuity in filmmaking. To really make it, even if you're doing the miniature, like Star Wars kind of stuff, Like at least it looked real, like there because it was a real, and I guess, and really it comes down to me being my dad now, and it's the analog and digital thing. It really is. It's a CD versus a record label, a vinyl record.
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of what I'm describing.
Well, I don't disagree with you. It just, I don't know. It's different. It's different. But I guess what I'm agreeing with you, but I'm also saying, like, you can make a movie that doesn't have a bunch of explosions in it and it's still good. It just depends on what kind of genre we're talking. I mean, there's obviously a lot of different variables there, but I don't like these earbuds. They fucking hurt my ears if I wear them too long.
Ew, they hurt my ears.
You know what? I'm going to reach this phone and fucking puncture your larynx, motherfucker.
Suck at your back.
I'm gonna tear out your fucking larynx like
what do people call it? One of my buddies called it a larynx. I'm like
larynx. I'm gonna tear out your fucking larynx like Swayze from Roadhouse.
Like Larynx Lewis.
Larynx Lewis.
Hey, cat dog. He's the boxer that's like, hey, my larynx. My larynx is bad.
So yeah, digital in an analog world. I feel like some movies, stand on their own merits, and some movies just fall flat.
Yeah.
They fall flat.
A lot of those
they just fall.
For instance, we'll stop talking about this because we're 20 minutes into this episode, but like
they just fall, JB.
Oh, do they fall forward?
Some of them, most of them, no. But
wow. This is the downfall of not being in the same room.
I know.
Nonverbal communication. So Tim just like teed up this segue, and not the like two-wheel transport device, like the segue of the topic of the podcast episode that we're talking about.
Yeah.
With our good buddy Denzel George Washington. Pretty sure that's not his middle name. But you know what?
Dude, Denzel George Washington Carver, the third.
Wow, the third Esquire.
The Esquire.
In our sort of theme run right now of doing inspirational speeches, especially at commencement ceremonies at prestigious institutions of higher learning.
Total coincidence, by the way, that these are both commencement speeches.
Not really. They're inspirational, really? And we're on a vein. I mean, that was just
no. I understand that, but I mean, like, these are both speeches that I just happen to like, completely separate from the fact that they're happening to be commencement speeches.
There were two speeches that just so happened to be inspired solely by you, because my brain has not been in the making podcast episode space for a while now. So,
hey, you know what?
Big ups to Timbo.
Even if I have to use duct tape, Flexi Seal, and silicone caulking, I'm gonna hold this fucking ship together one way or another.
That's right, Flex Seal. That's all you need, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you can make a boat out of a screen door with
Flexi Steel
Flex
is something
Seal.
totally different, and we won't talk about that because that's gross.
Flexi's. Yeah. Okay, moving on.
Flex Seal. And was that was one of his original, right? Wasn't that Billy? What's his name?
Billy, not Billy Blanks.
No, Billy. Fucking something, dude.
Fucking OxyClean.
And then they got a guy that like kind of looks like him, but it's like I'm watching a remake of Jurassic Park with like half of the special effects. It's just it's not the same, and it's not right. It's like get a new person.
It's like Jurassic Front Yard.
Get that guy. Get ShamWow Vince, with his stupid headset, even though he like punches hookers or whatever he does in his spare time. But although it's funny how they worked that whole thing into like an ad campaign. He's like, I'm cleaning up my life, and here's this cleaning product. I don't know if you saw that.
I'm cleaning up hooker blood with this.
So, on to our topic. So, yeah, this particular speech, and I think I've heard maybe multiple versions of it, so I'm sure, and I wouldn't blame him if he's given this more than once. But, so this was a commencement address given Monday, May 16th, 2011 at Penn by Denzel Washington.
7 years ago.
Academy Award-winning and Tony Award-winning actor and director. Now, I'm a little hazy. I don't think he went to Penn, but I know his son went to Penn. And I don't know how many sons he has, but I know he has one son, and I forget what his son's name is, but he is in the show Ballers. And he's a very likable character, probably a likable guy. He kind of sounds like his dad, kind of looks like his dad.
Wait, his son is in Ballers?
Yeah, his son's the Ricky Jarrett, the guy with the kind of like mohawk thing and like the big old beard.
Oh,
he's a receiver.
Yeah, he was with the Dolphins in the first season.
He was with the Dolphins, and then he was with the Patriots, and now he's retired.
I haven't watched that show since the first season. So
it's a good show. I like it.
No, it is a good show.
I mean, you talk about like actor chemistry. I mean, dude, the Rock and what's his name? It's such an unlikely mix, but they work well together. What's Rob
Corddry?
There you go, Rob Corddry. I love Rob Corddry.
Like what a weird combination, but
it works, dude.
Yeah, because he's so weaselly and like weird, and The Rock is like an Adonis of blockbuster proportions.
Yes,
I think
go watch Skyscraper.
Pretty good way to describe the ROCK.
Yeah, the ROCK. Shout out to you, The Rock, one of our inspirational forces since day one.
I smelled what The Rock's chef was cooking.
Yep. All right. So,
and it was gluten-free.
So wow, it was gluten-free. It was keto. It was high fat.
It's ketoacidosis.
Yeah. So, the first part about the speech, so he goes through the speech, and the title of the speech, which obviously speeches don't really have titles originally, but my title for the speech.
But for internet purposes, this speech has a title. It's a headline.
The title of this speech is called Fall Forward. And I believe that will also be the title of this episode, because why not?
Which is what happens when I get too drunk and I'm holding something. So I fall forward.
Right. And you try to hold it up, or if you fall in a pool, you try to hold your beer above your head so it doesn't get wet.
Well, or if you're my dad, it's a vodka tonic, and you get pushed in the pool, you fall forward, and you save the drink.
That makes sense.
Yeah, moving on.
Yes. So the first part that I thought was interesting was that Denzel is, and I don't know if this is for theatrics, it's probably true. He seems like a pretty honest guy, and to be perfectly honest, we probably owe Denzel an entire episode to go through because he's a very, very inspirational, motivational guy. He's a super cool guy, does a lot of philanthropic type stuff, and he does it in a lot of ways where he doesn't even get credit because he doesn't want it, because that's not why he does it. But at this convention speech, his son went to this school, played basketball, I believe, and that's that. But the first thing he talks about is being nervous, speaking in front of thousands of people, and he said it's a little bit overwhelming. And then he goes and he says, dress me up in army fatigues, throw me on top of a moving train, ask me to play Malcolm X, Reuben Hurricane Carter, Alonzo from Training Day. I can do all that. But a commencement speech? It's a very serious affair. Different ballgame. There's literally thousands and thousands of people here. And he kind of goes on to say, you may say I'm a movie star and millions of people watch me and hear me talk, but it's different because I don't have to watch them watch me. I don't have to see you like get bored and pick up your phone and text your boyfriend or your girlfriend and scratch your butt. But, anyway, so I thought that was cool, kind of cool to, nobody's perfect. Everybody's still kind of scared of something, even Denzel Washington.
Well, that's a good way to lead off too, because it's like, okay, they all know that I'm Denzel. Even in 2011, he's still a megastar. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a good way to be like, hey, I'm just a dude playing a dude dressed as another dude.
It kind of takes that edge off of that whole, well, this is Denzel Washington. Like, what's he going to tell me? Like, I'm not famous. Like, I can't learn anything from this guy.
Well, and what's funny is that this is how everybody should look at celebrities, because they are just people, and maybe not as good of people as the people who treat them as these idols. Like, well, and they're don't just know. Dudes, and
exactly. And, well, and I've never found anything bad about Denzel. I think he's
a guy I'm not saying Denzel specifically. No.
Well, but I think he actually puts effort into reminding people that he's just a human being. At the same time, he's one of the ones who you totally could look at as a role model. And
that's the whole thing, is that the ones that are out of the eye, the public eye, and the ones who really don't want the respect are the ones who should garner the most genuine respect. Mm-hmm. And that's how the world works. It's all a complete Chris Angel mindfuck. Are you ready?
Absolutely. So this next part, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it into a teachable moment where I don't think that's where he was going. I think he was just going for, well, I'll read it first. He goes, sure, I got an Academy Award, but I have never had something called magic meatballs after waiting in line for a half an hour at a food truck. True, I've talked face to face with President Obama. Never met a guy named Queeter who sings bad cover songs at Smokies on Tuesday night. Yes, I've played a detective battling demons, but I've never been to a school in my life where the squirrel population has gone bananas. breaking into dorm rooms and taking over campus. I think I've even seen some carrying books on their way to class. So I had to be here. I had to come, even though I was afraid I might make a fool of myself. In fact, if you really want to know the truth, I had to come exactly because I might make a fool of myself. So this is a beautiful segue into what he says next. But I really like the first three where he's kind of like touting a few of his accomplishments, but then he's making theirs not belittled, you know, like, and he's also relating to them in a way that I think any conversation, if you want to relate to somebody, this is a good example.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So this is where he gets into the meat of the speech. I found that nothing in life is worth
meat.
Yes. I've found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, "There's no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living."
Yeah.
It's kind of, yeah.
That's a big one.
Well, and I think that's the main message. Then he goes down to he breaks it down. So I'll just I'll keep going.
Just, wait, what happened?
I don't know. You gotta. I thought I was gonna move on, but then you got all excited. So
no, move on. We're good.
No. Okay.
Well, no, I was just saying the risk thing. Like, I feel like you can't just gloss over that.
Well, but that's not the first. I mean, the rest of the speech is explaining that line. So.
Okay, then move on.
Okay, so people have told. So then he goes on to say, people have told you. I'm sure people have told you to make sure to have something to fall back on. But I've never understood that concept. Having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything except my faith. I want to fall forward. At least I figure that way I'll see what I'm about to hit. Fall forward. So that's kind of this first part about taking risks.
Yeah, I mean, that's... I have kind of mixed reviews with people telling college students to take a risk. I feel like that's just like, hey, I mean, bear with me here. So
I'm hearing you out.
I know.
Before I interject,
what the fuck else are you doing right now?
I'm gonna lean back and just listen to the JB machine
and watch
turn.
JB like fucking stumble across this slippery ice field of conversation.
Dude, you know what? If you fall forward or back, I'll catch you.
Hey, no. I'm gonna fall forward, but it's gonna be in style, and I'll probably break through the ice and need some sort of rescue.
That's why I'm here, dude.
So, you go to college, usually a pristine college, or a prestigious college, and which I'm sure. What do you remember what college this was? You said that earlier.
Penn, not Penn State, just Penn.
Penn. Either way, it sounds expensive.
Sure.
So obviously, you're paying money. Your parents are paying money. You have college, college loans. When somebody comes up and says you need to take risk, it's like I feel like that, and we're gonna cut all this out because this is so fucking stupid. Moving on. I had an idea. Okay. It didn't work.
But here's the thing though. A lot of kids that are going through college, and I feel like, and I'm not going to attack the institution of college per se, but maybe a little bit. I think there's just so much of this safe zones and this, that, and some of that is important, but a lot of it is, I feel like, and this is totally anecdotally coming from my own ass, but that you don't necessarily come out of college with a real expectation of the world. Just from being a hiring manager, I interview a lot of people who are not too far out of college, and they still have this kind of entitlement mentality, and it's like, the world owes you shit. And that goes for everybody, including me and including Denzel Washington. And if you want anything, you have to go take risks to move towards getting that thing, whatever that thing is. Nobody's going to hand you anything. I was watching some show, and it was The Last Ship. That's what it was. And they were talking about, they were using a lot of hunting analogies. And he goes, well, what do you learn about hunting? He goes, you never wait and expect the game to come to you. So, if you're going to go out hunting, let's say for food, because you need dinner, if you just sit in a lawn chair, and I mean, granted, there's a little bit of this going on with like a deer blind, but ultimately you have to find the right deer blind. You can't just sit on your front porch and like wait for a deer or something to come your way so you can shoot it for dinner. You got to go out into the forest and make shit happen.
Yeah. Well, that's what he was getting at here. It's like,
Yes, exactly. Well, I guess I'm just trying to draw on, I think maybe these kids, they may not listen, but I think a lot of these kids graduating in today's day and age from college, they need to be told to take risks and work for things, you know?
Yeah.
Not all, but some.
I call it the dumb cowboy.
We said that last week.
The dumb.
You said dumb cowboy effect, and I said, yeah, just John Wayne it.
Well, yeah,
and I like
it. It's what I affectionately refer to as what my dad would do. He was
what would Clark do?
Affectionately referred to as the dumb cowboy thing. It's the Ricky Bobby. It's the machismo. It's just like, you have vigor. Just do it and just say yes. Just say yes and do it and ask questions later. That's the kind of thing.
And
that's exactly. It's
JB's improv approach to life.
It is. It's the comedic redneck improv approach to life. Just get her done. Which he is saying extremely more succinctly and eloquently than I just did, which is why he's Denzel Washington.
JB, if we were succinct and spoke with beautiful words, the people that like our podcast wouldn't like our podcast.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
So
we are kind of like cowboying up all these different things that were better said by other people. We're doing the dumb
cowboy thing in reverse.
Yeah, we're dumb cowboying something that someone else already did better. But that's okay. If you guys like it, then we'll just keep doing it. So he goes on with a few examples. He goes, here's what I mean. Reggie Jackson struck out 2,600 times in his career, the most in the history of baseball. But you don't hear about that strikeouts. People remember the home runs. Fall forward. Thomas Edison conducted 1,000 failed experiments. Did you know that? I didn't either. Because number 1001 was the light bulb. And again, we won't go into how much of an asshole Thomas Edison was or how those experiments were probably stolen. That's okay. Yeah, exactly. Fall forward. Every failed experiment is one step closer to success, which I remember you were quoting National Treasure like last week. And there was something about Thomas Edison said he didn't fail 1,000 times. He just found 1,000 ways not to make the light bulb.
Thank you, Nicolas Cage.
Mm-hmm. You've got to take risks, and I'm sure you probably heard that before. But I want to talk about why it's so important. I've got 3 reasons. And then you could pick up your iPhones. Because he talked about earlier how they shouldn't pick up their iPhones. So those are just some examples of that. So I guess I'll jump into his first reason. First, you will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. There's no doubt about that. Because it's inevitable.
Yeah. Well,
I think this is something we've talked about a whole bunch of times.
And as we keep discussing inspirational material, this comes up a lot. It's
Dude, failure is the building block to everything.
What is it? Character is forged in the fires of failure.
Oh yeah, that was JB's original quote. Yeah, character is forged in the fires of failure.
So and I came up with that.
Winning doesn't build
about
character.
Denzel's speech, so I'm pretty much a genius. Just so
you
y'all
are pretty
know,
much a genius. So yeah, you should really probably
those who
that.
Can't do teach. So I may not be inspired, but I'm gonna inspire the fuck out of y'all.
Wow.
Kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah. So failure. We've talked in abundance about how failure is a good thing. And obviously, in this day and age, we want the instant gratification for so many things. We see failure as not an option, and that's something that's taught too. Failure is not an option. It better flip and be an option.
I think failure in the sense of once you quit.
Well, but that's part of it.
Failure is permanent.
Yeah.
Until then, failure is only temporary.
Yeah, once you realize that failure is temporary.
Right.
Yeah. Moving on. And then failure.
Well, it's like, Eric Thomas
isn't
says,
an option because you never stop at failure.
Right. And I guess what I'm saying is not to discount that saying necessarily, because like if it's meant in a way of like, don't let every little failure be your failure, because if you keep going or if you learn from it, then it's not a failure. It's
that's true. It's just, but you have to describe things in every different way, because some people will take that as a
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. So Denzel goes on, and I'm not going to read this whole thing, but he essentially tells an example of one of the first. He was auditioning for a Broadway play, and so he did his tryout. So he had a singing part and an acting part, and apparently sucks at singing, so that didn't go so well. And then acting, he's a conversation actor, he's a movie actor, and I don't know exactly when this was because I think this was way early on in his career, but I believe that his training was more kind of realistic acting, where anyone who's ever seen a musical or a play, there's a more grandiose kind of element to it. It's not, two people just having a conversation. Everything is a little bit bigger and a little bit louder because you have to talk to the whole room. So he didn't do so well at that part either. So he failed miserably. But he never quit. He went on and he did a lot of stuff. And then I guess just recently he won a Tony for, he was in the play Fences, which apparently he was excited that he didn't have to sing, but he won a Tony for it. And the cool thing, kind of like full circle about that, was that I believe he received that Tony in the same theater where he had his
failed 30 years before.
Failed 30 years before at, exactly. So that's kind of a full circle or an ironic karmic.
The lesson to take from that is persistence.
Persistence, because he never quit.
Take risks. If you fail, persist, and you will succeed.
Quit when you're done, not when you're tired, or not when you failed.
Quit when you're ahead.
Quit when you're ahead. Yes.
Not like an actual head, but like
right
ahead.
Yeah. And I love he has a quote about persistence that I really like. He says because you know what, you hang around a barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're gonna get a haircut.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good. Sort of just placing yourself in a place for success.
Absolutely.
Hanging around with people who are better than you, just putting yourself in the right situation.
Well, and I think it also almost belittles some of his success a little bit, which is also another humanizing, remark about him. Because he almost makes it sound like, well, if you just hang around long enough, like, you kind of get a break.
I think there's... Keep going, sorry.
It's an oversimplification, but I like it.
I think he's really cool. Putting forth the sentiment for a lot of actors, because we idolize these people, and
absolutely.
If you were to be on a movie set, and I'm not getting all conspiratorial here. I'm just saying realistically, yes, they get the top billing on the movie, billboard and stuff like that. But if you were to be on a movie set, they are really just another person working there. You have the cinematographer, you have like hundreds of people doing these things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can talk to these people, and these blockbuster actors, they spend so much time with this cameraman, the cinematographer, that everybody. Getting in these same situations, doing their stunts. These people have to film these people. And when they get all this acclaim, I think it's very uncomfortable for them, for a certain portion of them. There's some of them that don't care and enjoy it. But it's very uncomfortable for these people because they realize that they are just part of a team.
Right. Absolutely.
Which I think Denzel knows very well.
In spades. I'd say this.
Yeah, and given what I've heard about his philanthropic work, and just what he, from the limited time that I've studied this speech and heard about it, it's like, these people. It's kind of my lifelong work to really sort of dull down this admiration and idolization of these people, because yes, they are here to entertain us, but do they deserve the the blind, faithful attention that we all give them? Maybe not in some cases.
Here's the thing. Now, this is only my opinion, but you look at someone like, we've covered Keanu Reeves, we're covering Denzel, we've covered some other people. It seems to me that the ones who do deserve it are also making it their own life work to dull it down as much as possible.
Yeah, exactly. And that's me. I'm the kind of the knee jerk conspiratorial look at things. But I do agree, the ones that and basically I'm calling out the bad ones. you know who I'm talking about. The people who you're like,
green M&Ms only in my dressing room, please.
Exactly. The Mariah Careys, the people like that who their sole purpose is to be famous.
Right.
And I'm not saying those people don't also have some, charity work and they may be good people, whatever. Pay attention to the second layer of these people.
When you leave a trail of shit and injured people, maybe not physically, but emotionally, like, you could do all the philanthropic work of the world, and that's not necessarily going to make up for it. Or if anything, you'll be at even.
You don't have to have your entire. You don't have to have a crisis of faith over liking movie stars. Don't do that. Just like the right movie
or pro
stars.
athletes or
anybody in the public
artists.
eye.
Yeah, anyone.
I mean, there's these ads. I see these ads on Facebook like, if we were to, treat our cancer doctors like we did LeBron James, who is a pretty awesome guy also. But you know what I'm saying? Is like, if we were to treat the cancer doctor like we did the latest movie star or the latest sports, person, we'd be in a whole lot better place, and we'd, they'd be,
if what
they'd be making
we're
all the
adorning
millions of
them with,
dollars and
cancer doctors do make a bunch of money. I mean, they doctors make enough money.
I know, but
I mean, not all of them.
Basically, what they're saying is that if we all paid attention and we all were to be able to steer, the kind of cultural zeitgeist that way.
That's an idealistic bullshit fucking view of the world, though. I mean, come on.
Well, it is. No, for sure.
Yeah.
And I get it. Cancer doctors and people who are doing that stuff aren't as entertaining. I totally get it. It's not a realistic view. I'm just saying, if you were to kind of steer the ship maybe a few degrees more towards that.
Sure, but the person who said that, what the hell how many cancer doctors do they know their names of? I mean, dude, True. It starts little. It starts with yourself. Like,
no, and I get it. They have an agenda in the complete opposite direction, or maybe in the same direction, and they're just trying to gain their own traction for their own means. But there is something to be said about not placing all your eggs in that, blockbuster actor basket.
Well, I totally agree with you, but like you said, I think there's good ones, and I mean,
yeah, no, and that was kind of the whole means to the end of this conversation is that you can do whatever the fuck you want. I know you're going to. I'm just saying, like the right ones. Like them for the right reasons. Don't like them because they look sexy on a billboard, or
you can like someone for looking sexy on a billboard, but just don't expect to get life advice from that person or political advice from that person.
Well, but that's what I'm saying, is that I don't know if a lot of people can decipher between that, and I hope they can. I really do. Well, and the reason I say that is because I've fallen victim to that same thing too. It's you look at these people and you're like, oh my God, like, they're on a billboard, they're in a movie, they must know every secret to life. They're successful, and it's in a lot of cases, it's not that way. That's all. That's I guess that's the point of my rant here.
So I think that someone like Keanu or Denzel, and there's a ton of other examples, and we'll try to dig into some of those, but I think that these are examples of people who they put the work in to maintain their humility, and that kind of works doubly because, like you said, maybe it's uncomfortable for them, but also it shows their true character, that they have life lessons and they want to teach people these, but as a man or as a person rather than and they'll use their pedestal.
They possess humility in the first place, which is huge.
Well, and I think it shows. I mean, you can see it, you can hear it. This whole speech is laced with humility. And, to your conspiratorialness, maybe some of it is a sales pitch to get people to actually listen to him. But I mean, he doesn't need people to listen to him in the speech. Like, he didn't get anything out of giving the speech other than just some of the accolades of being the commencement speaker. But
and my whole rant could be completely unfounded in the fact that maybe every actor feels this way and has humility, and it's just the media's perception of them that's making me think that way. Maybe it's the media that is, causing all of this false idolization and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Did one of your favorite actors touch you in a funny way or something? What's going on, buddy?
I don't know. Maybe
we seem to have struck a nerve here.
No, but really?
All right. What?
No. Yeah. I mean.
I'm half kidding. I'm like 90% kidding.
Yeah, I did go to Neverland Ranch when I was a kid.
Wow. Did you really?
No.
Oh, okay. So he goes on to say, the point is, everyone here today has the training and the talent to succeed, but do you have the guts to fail? And I really like that line.
Yeah. Intestinal
Do
fortitude.
you have the guts to fail? So that concludes the first point. Here's my second point about failure. And this is, JB, I think you already kind of touched on this, but here it is again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. My wife told me this expression, to get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. Les Brown, a motivational speaker, made an analogy about this. And I really like this too. Imagine you're on your deathbed and standing around your bed are the ghosts representing your unfilled potential. The ghosts of the ideas you never acted on. The ghosts of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, angry, disappointed, upset. We came to you because you could have brought us to life, they say, and now we go to the grave together. So I ask you today, how many ghosts are going to be around your bed when your time comes? And I really like that.
That's heavy, man. That's like...
It's heavy, but it's so cool, man.
Well, no, it is. And by heavy, I mean like inspirational because...
Well, Les Brown is a phenomenal inspirational speaker. He's kind of like a little bit old school. I don't know if you guys if you've never heard, I'll post one of his videos in the show notes. But yeah, if you don't know Les Brown, go look him up. We'll probably cover him.
Recently, like, kind of had this realization because in my mind, I know for a fact that I haven't lived up to my true potential in talent and in drive and ambition with ideas that I come out with
but
regularly.
Guess what? You're not on your deathbed, so there's still
I know.
time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like the way that he put it was so like, oh, I'm gonna hit you between the eyes with a 2x4.
I think I'm gonna read that again.
Do it.
Imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your bed are the ghosts representing your unfilled potential. The ghosts of the ideas you never acted on, the ghosts of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, angry, disappointed, upset. We came to you because you could have brought us to life, they say. And now we go to the grave together. So I ask you today, how many ghosts are going to be around your bed when your time comes? So, JB, luckily, I'd say you got, I don't know, quite a few years before that happens. So you got time.
Well,
buddy.
let's hope.
We all have time. Oh, shut up.
Well, I'm just saying you never know. But
so let me spin what you just said positively. Okay, so then start tonight. Start tomorrow.
For sure.
Because you never know.
No,
so, yeah, I thought that one was really cool. I don't know how much we need to dig into that. I mean, if you don't fail, you're not trying. I mean, that goes right back to, JB originally brought this up months ago, but, if you're not going to hit a home run if you don't swing at the ball.
Yeah. As simple as that, and as complicated as that.
The ghosts of your unfilled potential. That one's like you said, super heavy. But I like it because it's true. Because you're not. Well, I guess I'm going to go on and read the next part because that kind of says what I was about to say, anyways. The world needs a lot, and we need it from you, the young people. But I would say all people. So get out there, give it everything you've got. Whether it's your time, your talent, your prayers, or your treasure. I really like that one too because he's saying, look, you all have something to give. Maybe you have money, maybe you have time, maybe you have talent, maybe you have faith, maybe you have treasure, which could mean a ton of different things. But we all have something valuable to the world. And maybe because yours isn't money or it's not talent or it's not, maybe just because it's not one of these things doesn't mean it's not valuable to the world. And I think that just kind of to piggyback on that last point about unfilled potential, everybody's got different potentials and different gifts and different things that you've got to give. So figure out what that is and give it everything you've got. JB, you got something to say on this one?
No, I don't because I feel like he said it really, really well.
That's kind of where a lot of this speech is like, I don't know how to expand on this because I can't say it.
We're just kind of passing the baton along.
Here's something that I've said before. I've never said in this way. I really like this. He goes, because remember, you'll never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. You can't take it with you.
can't take it with you.
Yeah, you can't take it with you. And then he goes on to say, the ancient Egyptians tried it, and all they got was robbed. because they used to put all their they used to, kill their slaves and bring their pets and all their jewels and all their everything.
The pyramids are an example of that.
Well, and then all they got was grave robbed. Yeah. So he goes on to say, building on this point, some of you have money, some of you have patience, some of you have kindness, some have love, some of you have the gift of long suffering. Whatever it is, what are you going to do with what you have? Again, he just says it so good. I can't expand on it really.
Well, it poses a very intellectual question to a lot of kids who have been primed intellectually and are they're wound up and ready to start spinning. So.
Yeah, but I mean, it just goes back to that. I feel like a lot of people like, oh well, the things I could do if I had money, or like the whole cancer. Like, oh gosh, if only we did this. Like, stop worrying about what we could do. Or what would happen if you had this.
And just go do what you can.
Go do what you can with what you have. And if there's something you don't have and you want that thing, then do what you can with what you have to go get that thing so you can do something with that thing.
Well, I feel like the former, what you were just saying is people are like, oh, because I don't have this money. It's like when you're, there's a certain kind of person that will accumulate things and won't use them. They'll have all the right tools. They will be polished. They will be set in a nice, toolbox, and they'll never get used. And then there's the person that has the, Walmart, 100-piece toolkit that will build something amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Be that guy.
Absolutely.
Be the guy that Damon John put out the book recently, The Power of Broke. Look at yourself and try and envision yourself, even if you do have the means. Bring yourself down to the point where you think you don't, and try and enlist that hunger. I equate this a lot to music production lately, where like in the 60s, the late 50s and 60s with the Beatles, they had very little technology in the form of music production. They didn't have Pro Tools. We didn't have anything. They had tape, 2-inch tape machines. They had to be very resourceyful and utilize a large amount of ingenuity.
You mean they didn't have auto-tune back then?
Oh, crazy. I know, right? They'd actually have talent. Well, first of all, it really showed your talent, but at the same time, they had to be creative, and the lack of means, I think, really spawns creativity. When you have all the tools around you, you really don't. It doesn't promote creativity because you've got all these tools, and it's like it's right there in front of you. Whereas if you don't have all the tools, your mind goes to the point where, how do I do this? Because it automatically it flips 180.
Well, it's kind of like a MacGyver situation.
Exactly.
It's like you have to get out of this weird Panamanian prison.
It wouldn't be interesting if he had the Inspector Gadget toolkit with him.
Right, but it's like he has to make the bomb to get out of this prison so he doesn't die. So like there is a desperation aspect to it as well.
Yes.
That forces creativity. Now, obviously, it was a TV show, but a fantastic one. But anyways, yeah. So I mean, I feel like you have to have that sort of desperation to create something with what you have. Don't wait until it's like JB and I have talked about this, and we've gotten a lot from what is the best camera you have or the best microphone you have? It's the best one is the one you have. So go do something with it. It could be your phone. One of my reps had a dinner program with some physician speaking about one of our products, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to take notes." I'm like, you know what? Use a voice recorder on your phone and just record the whole thing, and let me see what I can do with it from an audio standpoint. And sure enough, she did, and it sounded good enough for me to put together and let other people listen to it. So I don't know, just be creative with what you got, because that's all you got right now. And if you turn that into something, then you'll get more, and then you have more to work with.
You're always going to be looking for the next technological thing, and it's always going to be coming. So don't rely on that. Rely on your hunger and your your fortitude and your vision, and let that motivate you, and let that dictate your surroundings. Because I feel like if you do that, you use what you've got. First of all, it's going to be a lot more genuine. You'll be able to really recognize who you are as a person, because it's genuine, it's coming from you, and it'll be so much more rewarding because you didn't use anything that you didn't have. You had what was in front of you. You made something happen. You moved forward and you went and did it. And that's going to be the most rewarding thing.
I think I have a good example of what you've kind of been talking about is look at Star Wars. Look at the first 3 that came out, episodes 4, 5, and 6. George Lucas was surrounded by people telling him it wasn't going to work. It was a horrible idea, and he had limited creative tools, limited special effects type stuff he could work with, and so
cinema technology at that point
he was forced to come up with what he came up with, and it was good. Then you give him all these crazy tools, and he comes out with episodes 1, 2, and 3 years later, and they get I don't have
Jar Jar Binks.
They're entertaining, but they're just not the same. And it was like, did you get lazy because you had all the tools and you didn't, or was it because you didn't have anyone naysaying and telling you, that this was a bad idea? So
I don't think he was as hungry, and that's just my opinion.
Well, I think there's a little bit of both.
Obviously, he had major success with episode 3, 4, and 5.
4, 5, 6.
4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah. There's something to be said about the genuineness of a creative spark. I mean, things converge, and make something amazing, which is why Star Wars fans are Star Wars fans, because it was magical. And this is a prime example of what Denzel is talking about in this speech. I mean, just go do it. Just don't think about it. Just go do it. And you may fail, you may not.
Yeah.
Just do it.
And it goes back to a lot of those, what we talked about with the Admiral McRaven stuff and with Sun Tzu. Once you've done the planning and you decided to take that leap, you climb that ladder or you cross that bridge, and then you burn the bridge or you kick the ladder out. Because once you've decided to take that step, to take that journey, just do it. Like, once you make that decision, and we've talked about decision before, how the Latin roots of the word come from cut off, to cut off from. So make your decision, cut off the others, get rid of your escape route. Don't half-ass something, and just go do it.
Yeah.
So so then that moves us on to his last point about failure. Sometimes it's the best way to figure out where you're going. Your life will never be a straight path. And then he goes in to tell his whole story about he started off as a med student. Then I think he wanted to be a lawyer. And then he kind of sucked at school because he probably wasn't inspired. And he was like a counselor for Boys and Girls Club or something. They were on some like camping trip or whatever. And they did a skit. And I guess after that skit, someone came up to him and said, "Hey, like, have you ever thought about acting? Because you're really good." And that was what he kind of took to heart. And he went back and changed his major one more time and finished school, I believe, with probably like a theater degree or something. I don't know. He doesn't really talk about that. But I thought this was kind of interesting. He was, around this time, he was working in his mom's beauty salon. And there was this old lady with her head in like the dryer thing. And he says she was just looking at him. And then she says, "Young boy, I have a spiritual prophecy. You're going to travel the world and speak to millions of people." And at the time, he just kind of laughed it off. And he's like a wise ass. I'm thinking to myself, does she got anything in that crystal ball about me getting back to college in the fall? Because they kind of forced him to take a break. But interesting enough, he says, and in the years that followed, just as that woman getting her hair done predicted, I have traveled the world and I have spoken to millions of people through my movies. Millions who up until today I couldn't see while I was talking to them. But I do see you today, and I'm encouraged by what I see. I'm strengthened by what I see. I love what I see. So I thought that one was really cool, about how kind of sometimes failure is what you need to kind of see what the right path is. And I think you and I have talked about this, and you've quoted Casey Neistat before in like, I think it's something about like, to find out what you love, you have to do something you really, really hate.
Mm-hmm. Which I'm a huge proponent of. Right.
Especially
if you're not extremely driven to begin with.
It's interesting. I was watching this is the opposite of not extremely driven, but I was watching a David Goggins video the other day. It's kind of like cuts of him doing stuff, but he's basically flipping a tire. And apparently every day he flips this giant tire for an entire mile. The dude is a freaking monster. But he was saying every day he does something that sucks to remind him the work it takes to get to where he's been, and also to keep himself grounded.
Well,
and
yeah,
I thought that was really
being grounded
cool.
makes you really appreciate where you're at, for sure.
Uh-huh. But also, you said it kind of clears his mind, because it forces kind of, well, interesting, because we talked about this, but it forces, when you put your body into immense pain in, whatever, pain in the working out sense, or, I mean, I don't think he's like completely, well, I guess you could call him masochist, but not in like the traditional literal sense. But when you put yourself into that much pain, it almost wakes up the animal instincts within you. And we've always talked about how that's kind of what makes him so successful, is part of where he doesn't feel sorry for himself. He doesn't think about things the way that, people overanalyze things. He just figures out what he wants and he does it. And that's a almost animal instinct way of looking at things, but that kind of made sense when he was talking about how that's kind of how he wakes up. He wakes up his primitive brain, or his caveman brain, by basically just putting a lot of pain on himself, so that's the one that comes out. Because you better believe when it's, a survival situation takes hold of your life, that's the part of your brain that's probably going to take over.
Well, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and make a giant sweeping generalization, but I strongly believe that anxiety and depression are side effects of our sedentary existence, as
I think he even talks about that too, to be perfectly honest.
Well, and this is what you're talking about, is the fact that he doesn't experience these things because his brain exercises. His body, his physiology, it's exercised.
Right.
It's at its homeostasis. That's where we should be as humans, is exercise. We are hunter-gatherers. We haven't evolved to the point to where we can get past the fact that our brains need the chemicals that are generated by our bodies when we are searching for food and hunting for shelter.
Yeah.
That's I'm a strong believer in that, even though
I totally agree.
I don't necessarily exercise every day. I recognize the fact that I should, but when I do have anxiety and depression, I know that that's probably why I do.
I think, well, yeah, and I think it's to a small degree. I think about it, like there's definitely something to being distracted, even on like a small scale, because I'm sure, like me, a lot of people, you come up with your best ideas when you're sitting on the john, or when you're in the shower, or when you're doing something.
It's the shower principle.
You're distracted, exactly. So then there's the next step of that, with you're releasing all these endorphins, and you're taxing your body a little bit. So your brain is focused on, keeping all of your synapses firing and all this. So you're distracting your brain in ways that benefit your mind, to be perfectly honest.
No, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and your body's producing the chemicals that make you feel as though those of us who have enjoyed the substances that may have been illegal, that your body produces those feelings and those chemicals naturally. The fact that we chase them,
dopamine, serotonin,
exactly. Yeah. The fact that we chase them is a huge. It just shows that we are so lucky in being humans, and the fact that we can even think about chasing those feelings.
But it's also kind of a cheap shortcut.
It absolutely is. I'm saying is that it's the real world effect. It's when everything is so good that you pay attention to the little things that aren't good,
Absolutely. Yeah.
And as evolutionarily right now, we don't have to hunt and gather. So what we do is we chase the feelings that make us feel good.
Right. But we're also, I feel like there's a lack of overall purpose a lot of the times for a lot of people.
No. And this goes hand in hand with what I'm saying, for sure.
Yeah. 'Cause you need a struggle. And if there isn't a struggle, you're going to subconsciously create one. Or you're going to latch on to some person who's a fucking fraud who creates one for you. And well, there's a lot of dangers in that, but we're going to talk about positive things here. So,
well, no, for sure. And we're just trying to get through the fact that, I don't even know what we were talking about at this point, but
We were talking about how you can use failure. His third point was using failure to figure out what your ultimate direction should be or is going to be.
and this is where I think college falls short for a lot of people. In my understanding of the traditional college experience, there's a number of different routes that people take. There's one that's you're very driven in high school. You know exactly what you want to do, so you go to the college that say you're a doctor. You want to be a doctor. You want to be an oncologist. So you go to a certain college that has the amazing cancer research. You go do that.
Yeah.
I think for the vast majority of American kids, college is a place to kind of quote unquote find yourself. It's a place to try different things and fail, and just be exposed to more than you were going to be in your high school, your hometown. I don't know if that's the intent. The more I think it's, these colleges are here to just take kids' money and stuff like that. But I think that was kind of the 50s, apple pie, leave it to beaver version of what college was supposed to be, was for you to find yourself. And I think that's where, I just don't know if that's what kids are doing at college. I mean, are they going out and trying things? Are they trying to, take advantage of the fact that there's these amazing institutions, that have resources aplenty and opportunities in umpteenth numbers, that you can go and get your hands on technology and do all this stuff? Like, is that what college is these days, or is it just what you do after high school?
I think it's a little bit of both, but I think it comes down to you, because no matter what college used to be or is now or is becoming or has become, I still think it just like anything else in life is an opportunity, but you have to make the most out of that opportunity.
Well, and this is the good example is there, what I just said, me asking that question obviously denotes the fact that there's probably a lack of that. So in recognizing that, go take advantage, be the person that Denzel is describing. Recognize the fact that it's really easy to stand out in a crowd these days.
So there's one more part to the speech, and I think he wraps it up nicely. So I'm just going to dive into that real quick. Some of you may or may not remember a little movie that Denzel was in a long time ago now. He was in a movie called Philadelphia. Basically, it was about... So he says, let me conclude with one final point. Many years ago, I did this movie called Philadelphia. We actually filmed some of the scenes right here on campus. So I guess I filmed some of the scenes on the Penn campus. Philadelphia came out in 1993, when most of you were probably still crawling around in diapers. Some of the professors, too. But it's a good movie. Rent it on Netflix. I get 23 cents every time you do. Tell your friends, too. So it's kind of funny there. But essentially, it's a movie about a guy with AIDS who's fired from a law firm because he has AIDS, played by Tom Hanks. And Denzel plays a homophobic ambulance-chasing lawyer who ends up finally taking the case. And he has a lot of reservations. And essentially, he takes away that these are fears. He's homophobic because he's afraid of what he doesn't know. But it's cool because in the movie, the characters grow. And he says, in a way, if you watch the movie, you'll see everything I'm talking about today. You'll see what I mean about taking risks or being willing to fail. Because taking a risk is not just about going for a job. It's also about knowing what you know and what you don't know. It's about being open to people and ideas. Over the course of the film, the character I play begins to take risks. He slowly overcomes his fears, and ultimately his heart becomes flooded with love. And I can't think of a better message as we send you off today. To not only take risks, but be open to life. To accept new views and be open to new opinions. To be willing to speak at a commencement address at one of the country's best universities, even though you're scared stiff. While it may be frightening, it will also be rewarding. Because the chances you take, the people you meet, the people you love, the faith that you have, that's what's going to define you in life. So members of the class of 2011, this is your mission. So I'll say, so listeners, this is your mission. When you leave the friendly confines of West Philly or of your car or wherever you're listening to this podcast, never be discouraged. Never hold back. Give everything you've got. And when you fall throughout life, and maybe even tonight, after a few too many glasses of champagne, fall forward. Congratulations. I love you. God bless you. I respect you. Denzel Washington. I thought he wrapped it up. Wow, that was good. Good job, JB. I thought he wrapped it up with that very nicely.
Yeah.
And I like the message. And I don't think I can't say anything about it that would make it any better, really.
No, we're yeah.
But I like how, knowing something about knowing what you know and knowing what you don't know. Now I lost it. Oh, well, fuck it.
That's all right.
I really like this part too. Like, it's also about knowing what you know and what you don't know. And that just kind of reminded me of the whole, like, Sun Tzu. If you know yourself and you know your enemy, you'll win every battle. If you know yourself and not your enemy, you'll lose a battle for every one you win. And if you know not yourself nor your enemy, then you'll lose every battle you fight.
Well, and if you know yourself, you'll know which battles to take.
Know which battles to take. And also, if you know yourself, back to his whole everyone has something to offer. If you know yourself, I think that's truly knowing what tools, what things you have to offer the world.
And you'll know who to surround yourself with.
Exactly. Maybe it's not money. Maybe it's talent. Maybe it's not talent. Maybe it's faith. Maybe it's, I don't know, because it's 1,000 different things. But know your strengths and use them.
Well, and truly knowing yourself, you will know what makes you happy. And if you can, go forth and achieve that, you're light years ahead of everybody else.
And if you want help figuring out what makes you happy, go purposefully do something that sucks.
Yeah.
Because it will distract you and it will put you in an unhappy state to where hopefully you're a positive enough person to turn that into, God, this sucks. What I'd really like to be doing right now is this. And then you're like, holy shit, I didn't even know I wanted to do that.
Well,
that's
crazy.
crazy.
And listening to that. Exactly. And understanding that the fact that you can do it. You're not stuck in that initial position,
Well, that's what I also really like that whole about, like, not only to take risks, but be open to life, be open to signs, be open to listen to life, listen to yourself, accept new views and be open to new opinions. I really like that. So yeah, I think this is a pretty badass speech.
This is a good one. Go listen to it. I'm sure, Tim, you'll tag the old spiach on the end of this audio.
I will tag the whole speech onto the end of the audio. I will also put a link to the YouTube video of the speech in the show notes.
Nice.
And I think that's it, buddy.
Dude,
we got your hour in.
Yeah, we nailed it.
Nailed it. Cool. Well, thank you all. Go listen to this speech. And honestly, if you end up going down a rabbit hole of Denzel Washington speeches, it's really not a waste of your time because everything Denzel says is pretty legit.
Go watch Training Day. It's a badass movie.
Yeah, go watch Training Day. Training Day is awesome, dude. The Equalizer was an awesome movie. It came out a while back. The Equalizer 2 is coming out soon. I'm kind of excited for that. Shout out to you, Denzel. I'm totally going to tweet. I'm going to tweet. I don't really know how to tweet very good, but I try. So I'm going to tweet something about this episode, and I will definitely tag Denzel. And dude, if he listens to it, that'd be great, but I'm sure he won't. But that's cool. It's all good.
Who knows? You never know. He's a good guy.
Never, ever. No, he's a good guy.
Maybe he's sitting around, on a movie set, bored because they're not shooting him that day. And, who knows? I'd be like, hey,
who knows?
Those Project Reclamation guys, they're unpolished and not that great, but hey, they're giving it their old college try.
Yeah, dude. Speaking of awesome people, did I tell you that Jocko's doing a book signing in San Diego?
You did not mention that.
Oh, yeah, he's doing a book signing in San Diego for him and Leif's new book. And I'm sure Echo will be there too, but I'll have to go. I think it's like $30 for 2 tickets. And I think it comes with a book. So,
dude,
sweet.
I'll give you
maybe
15.
I'll see if that's fine. You don't have to do that. I'll see if the Changover wants to roll because we need to get his ass back into the studio.
Changover. I want a signed book though.
Oh, well then I'll figure out if that 2 tickets comes with 2 signed books or 1. If it comes with 1, then you can pay your own and I'll just get you a signed book.
Yeah, because I won't be able to be out there for it.
Right. Because it's like October 1st. So shout out to you, Denzel. We talked about a lot of people in this episode, so I'll just tag them all. Good stuff, man. But these are the people from which we take our motivation. And
yes,
feel free to jump on that. And if there's any other awesome people that we don't talk about or haven't talked about that you think fit this kind of mold, let me know. projectxreclamation@gmail.com.
Good.
And we will leave you with that. JB, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I don't have any final thoughts.
Neither do I, dude. I'm all thoughted out today. And I got to be honest, like Denzel just says it all better than we can.
Yeah,
so
like, what am I going to say that's going to be like Jerry Springer? His final thoughts were probably written by somebody who was a writer. And yeah, nothing I'm going to say is going to make this episode any better.
Our charm is in that we are not polished and we are not writers. And that's why
exactly.
Like us. So thank you, people that like us for those things.
Yeah, my final thoughts are, I don't have any.
My final thoughts are, if JB and I can do a podcast, you can do anything. And go swing. And if you strike out a whole lot of times, people aren't going to remember that. They're only going to remember the home runs. And if you swing enough and you swing hard enough, if you swing away, Merrill, you will hit some home runs.
Seriously.
But you're never going to hit home runs sitting at home thinking about how to hit home runs. You're never going to hit home runs sitting on the bench, and you're never going to hit home runs standing at the plate and watching the ball fly by. You're only going to hit a home run by swinging at the ball.
Nobody's going to remember who won the Open, but they are going to remember you hitting that 3-wood 320 yards over the water hazard and onto the green.
That's very true. Very true.
Yeah.
So with that, I will say, go out and fall. Fall forward. Because you know what? If you fall forward, you're still moving in the right direction. If you fall backwards, then you have to take some of the same steps over again. So go fall forward. Go Denzel it up.
Make your general direction forward.
Yes.
Trend forward.
So I'll leave you with that. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you soon.
Be good.
Peace out.
Pleasure.
So what I believe you were trying to say is thank you.
Please join me in welcoming Denzel Washington.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I am obviously the most unorganized. Everybody else has nice boxes to bring their script up in. I just kind of got it all messed up here and put it inside of a magazine. So in fact, I don't even have it in the right order. Wait a minute, let me get it in the right order here. So if it starts flying around the stage, just, run around and grab it for me and bring it back up here for me. I'll keep going as I can. President Gutman, Provost Price, Board Chair Cohen, fellow honorees, beautiful honorees, and today's graduates. I'm honored and grateful for the invitation today. It's always been great to be on the Penn campus. I've been here before a lot of times for basketball games. My son played at the Palestra, played on the basketball team. Yeah, that's right. He played on the basketball team. Coach didn't give him enough playing time. We'll talk about that later. No, but I'm really pleased with the progress that Coach Allen has made, and no, I do. I really am, and I hope I'm the best success in the future. And I always get a warm welcome when I come to Pennsylvania, when I come to Philadelphia, except on the few occasions where I wear my Yankee cap. What's wrong with that? I can't suddenly just switch up and wear a Philly cap. I mean, it's like taking your life in your hands around here when you wear a Yankee cap. I'm telling you. I met a couple of guys and they were like, "Hey, we love you, Denzel, but you walking around with that hat on. We don't care who you are." So you be happy to see that I'm not wearing my Yankee cap today. I'm wearing my Yankee socks, my Yankee t-shirt, my Yankee jock shorts, my Yankee underwear, my Yankee toe warmers, but not my Yankee cap. But still, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little nervous. I'm not used to speaking at a graduation of this magnitude. It's a little overwhelming. It's out of my comfort zone. You dress me up in army fatigues or throw me on top of a moving train, someone said, unstoppable, or ask me to play Malcolm X, Reuben Hurricane Carter, or Alonzo from Training Day. I can do that. But a commencement speech, it's a very serious affair, and it's a very different ball game. There are literally thousands and thousands of people here. And for those who say, well, you're a movie star, millions of people watch you and watch you speak all the time, well, that's true. That's technically true. But I'm not actually in the theater watching them watching me. I think that makes sense. I mean, I'm not there when they call for a fidget around or pull out their iPhones or text their boyfriend or scratch their behinds or whatever it is they're doing in the movie theater. But from up here, I can see every single one of you. And that makes me uncomfortable. So please, don't pull out your iPhones and don't text your boyfriend until after I'm done. Please. If you have to scratch your behind, I mean, I understand. Go ahead. I was thinking about this speech, what I should say. I figured the best way to keep your attention would be to talk about something, really like juicy Hollywood stuff. Like, I thought I could talk about me and Russell Crowe getting in arguments on the set of American Gangster, but I said, no, you're a group of high-minded intellectuals, you're not interested in that. Or maybe not. I thought about a private moment I had backstage with Angelina Jolie in a dressing room after the Oscars. But I said, no, I don't think so. This is an Ivy League school, and I mean, Angelina Jolie half naked in a dressing room. Who wants to hear about that? No one. This is Penn. That stuff would never go over well over here. Maybe at Drexel, but not over here. Woo, I'm in trouble now. So I was back to square one, feeling the pressure. So now you're probably thinking, if it was going to be this difficult, this much pressure, why did I even accept today's invitation in the first place? Well, my son goes here, that's number one. That's a good reason. And I always like to check to see how my money's being spent. And I'm sure there's some parents out there who can relate to what I'm talking about. Yeah. To everybody upstairs. And there were some other good reasons for me to show up. Sure, I got an Academy Award, but I never had something called a magic meatball after waiting in line for half an hour at the food truck. Yeah? Yes, I talked face-to-face with President Obama, but I never talked face-to-face with a guy named Queeter who sings bad songs over at Smokes on Tuesday night. I never been to Buies. I never been to Hemos. Yes, I have played a detective who battles demons, but I've never been to a school in my life where the squirrel population has gone bananas. I mean, they're breaking in the dorm rooms, they're walking around campus. I think I saw some carrying books on their way to class. So I had to be here. I had to come. Even though I was afraid I might make a fool of myself. In fact, if you really want to know the truth, I had to come exactly because I might make a fool of myself. Now, what am I talking about? Here it is. I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, "There is no passion to be found playing small. in settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living. Now, I'm sure in your experiences in school and applying to college and picking your major and deciding what you want to do with life, I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything except my faith. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. Fall forward. This is what I mean. Reggie Jackson struck out 2,600 times in his career, the most in the history of baseball. But you don't hear about the strikeouts. People remember the home runs. Fall forward. Thomas Edison conducted 1,000 failed experiments. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Because the 1,001st was the light bulb. Fall forward. Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. You've got to take risks, and I'm sure you've probably heard that before, but I want to talk to you about why that's so important. I got 3 reasons, and then you can pick up your iPhones. First, you will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. There's no doubt about it. And I know that's probably not a traditional message for a graduation ceremony, but hey, I'm telling you, embrace it, because it's inevitable. And I should know. In the acting business, you fail all the time. Early on in my career, I auditioned for a part in a Broadway musical. Perfect role for me, I thought, except for the fact that I can't sing. So I'm in the wings, I'm about to go on stage, but the guy in front of me, he's singing like Pavarotti. He's just, and he's just going on and on and on, and I'm just shrinking, I'm getting smaller and smaller. So they say, oh, thank you very much, and you'll be hearing from us. So I come out with my little sheet music, and it was Just My Imagination by the Temptations. That's what I came up with. So I hand it to the accompanist, and she looks at it and looks at me and looks out at the director and was like, all right. So I start, I'm going to sing. I'm like, it's just my imagination once again, and then coming away with me. And I'm not saying anything, so I'm thinking I'm getting better. So I start getting into it. It was just my imagination. Running. This, oh yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Washington. Thank you. So I assumed I didn't get the job. But the next part of the audition, he called me back. The next part of the audition is the acting part of the audition. So I'm like, hey, okay, maybe I can't sing, but I know I can act. So they pair me with this guy, and again, I didn't know about musical theater. And musical theater is big, so they can reach everyone all the way in the back of the stadium. And I'm more from a realistic, naturalistic kind of acting where you actually talk to the person next to you. So I don't know what my line was. My line was, well, hand me the cup. And his line was, well, I will hand you the cup, my dear. The cup will be there to be handed to you. I said, oh, okay. Well, should I give you the cup back? Oh, yes, you should give it back to me, because you know that is my cup and it should be given back to me. I didn't get the job. But here's the thing. I didn't quit. I didn't fall back. I walked out of there to prepare for the next audition, and the next audition, and the next audition. I prayed. I prayed, and I prayed. But I continued to fail, and fail, and fail. But it didn't matter, because you know what? There's an old saying, you hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're going to get a haircut. So you will catch a break, and I did catch a break. Last year, I did a play called Fences on Broadway. Someone talked about it. Won the Tony Award. And I didn't have to sing, by the way. But here's the kicker. It was at the Court Theater. It was at the same theater that I failed that first audition 30 years prior. The point is, and I'll pick up the pace, the point is every graduate here today has the training and the talent to succeed. But do you have the guts to fail? Here's my second point about failure. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. I'll say it again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. My wife told me this great expression. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did. Les Brown's a motivational speaker. He made an analogy about this. He says, imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your deathbed are the ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential. The ghost of the ideas you never acted on. The ghost of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, angry, disappointed, and upset. They say, we came to you because you could have brought us to life, they say. And now we have to go to the grave together. So I ask you today, how many ghosts are going to be around your bed when your time comes? You've invested a lot in your education, and people have invested in you. And let me tell you, the world needs your talents. Man, does it ever. I just got back from Africa like 2 days ago, so if I'm rambling on, it's because I'm jet lagged. I just got back from South Africa. It's a beautiful country, but there are places there with terrible poverty that need help. And Africa is just the tip of the iceberg. The Middle East needs your help. Japan needs your help. Alabama needs your help. Tennessee needs your help. Louisiana needs your help. Philadelphia needs your help. The world needs a lot, and we need it from you. We really do. We need it from you young people. I mean, I'm not speaking for the rest of us up here, but I know I'm getting a little grayer. We need it from you, the young people, because remember this. So you got to get out there. You got to give it everything you got, whether it's your time, your talent, your prayers, or your treasures. Because remember this. You will never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. I'll say it again. You will never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. You can't take it with you. The Egyptians tried it, and all they got was robbed. So the question is, what are you going to do with what you have? I'm not talking about how much you have. Some of you are business majors. Some of you are theologians, nurses, sociologists. Some of you have money. Some of you have patience. Some of you have kindness. Some of you have love. Some of you have the gift of long suffering. Whatever it is, whatever your gift is, what are you going to do with what you have? All right, now here's my last point about failure. Sometimes it's the best way to figure out where you're going. Your life will never be a straight path. I began at Fordham University as a pre-med student. I took a course called cardiac morphogenesis. I still can't say it. Cardiac morphogenesis. I couldn't read it. I couldn't say it. I sure couldn't pass it. So then I decided to go into pre-law, then journalism. And with no academic focus, my grades took off in their own direction. Yeah, down. I was a 1.8 GPA one semester, and the university very politely suggested that it might be better to take some time off. I was 20 years old. I was at my lowest point. And then one day, and I remember the exact day, March 27th, 1975, I was helping my mother in her beauty shop. My mother owned a beauty shop up in Mount Vernon. And there was this older woman who was considered one of the elders in the town. And I didn't know her personally, but I was looking in the mirror, and every time I looked at the mirror, I could see her behind me, and she was staring at me. She just kept looking at me. Every time I looked at her, she kept giving me these strange looks. So she finally took the dryer off her head and she said something I'll never forget. First of all, she said, "Somebody give me a piece of paper. Give me a piece of paper." She said, "Young boy, I have a prophecy, a spiritual prophecy." She said, "You are going to travel the world and speak to millions of people." Now, mind you, I'm 20 years old. I'm flunked out of school. In fact, like a wise ass, I'm thinking to myself, maybe she's got something in that crystal ball about me getting back into school next fall. But maybe she was on to something, because later that summer, while working as a counselor at a YMCA camp in Connecticut, we put on a talent show for the campers. And after the show, another counselor came up to me and asked, "Have you ever thought about acting? You're good at that." So when I got back to Fordham that fall, I got in and I changed my major once again for the last time. And in the years that followed, just as that woman prophesied, I have traveled the world and I have spoken to millions of people through my movies. Millions who up till this day couldn't see me, who up till this day I couldn't see while I was talking to them, and they couldn't see me. They could only see the movie. They couldn't see the real me. But I see you today, and I'm encouraged by what I see. And I'm strengthened by what I see. And I love what I see. One more page, and I'll shut up. Let me conclude with this one final point, and actually the president kind of brought it up. It has to do with the movie Philadelphia. She stole my material. Many years ago, I did this movie called Philadelphia. We filmed some of the scenes right here on campus. Philadelphia came out in 1993. Most of you were probably still in diapers. Some of the professors, too. But that cracked me up. But it was a good movie. Rent it on, Netflix. It's a good movie. Rent it. I get 23 cents every time you rent it. Please, rent it. True. Parents up there, rent it. Netflix, please. Tell your friends, too. It's about a man played by Tom Hanks who's fired from his law firm because he has AIDS. He wants to sue the firm, but no one's willing to represent him until a homophobic ambulance chaser lawyer, played by yours truly, takes on the case. In a way, if you watch the movie, you'll see everything I'm talking about today. You'll see what I mean about taking risk or being willing to fail. Because taking risk is not just about going for a job. It's also about knowing what you know and what you don't know. It's about being open to people and to ideas. In the course of the film, the character I play begins to take small steps, small risks. He very, very, very slowly begins to overcome his fears. And I feel ultimately his heart becomes flooded with love. And I can't think of a better message as we send you off today. To not only take risks, but to be open to life, to accept new views, and to be open to new opinions, to be willing to speak at a commencement at one of the best universities in the country, even though you're scared stiff. While it may be frightening, it will also be rewarding. Because the chances you take, the people you meet, the people you love, the faith that you have, that's what's going to define you. So members of the class of 2011, this is your mission. When you leave the friendly confines of Philly, never be discouraged. Never hold back. Give everything you got. And when you fall throughout life, and maybe even tonight after a few many glasses of champagne, remember this: fall forward. Congratulations. I love you. God bless you. I respect you.